Hello and welcome to the Dominion Daily for March 25th, 2026. We've got Empires and Rising Sun today. And that's interesting. Okay, so we've got Sacrifice is the only trashing. But Enlightenment is functionally trashing for your treasures. So Sacrifice trashing estates would be enough, assuming activate that, which is activated off of Rustic Village. So that seems likely enough to activate, I suppose. Let's see, for plus actions, there is also Litter and City Quarter and Daimyo. So not necessarily critical to get a Rustic Village, but for draw, Litter, Imperial Envoy, City Quarter, Daimyo, Enchantress, a lot of draw. For gains, Imperial Envoy buys, Engineer gains, and that's it. So that's pretty limited. The thing I was saying, like, that's interesting about is we've got Tower on the board, and you don't need to trash your coppers. I don't know if the gains are going to be there, but in principle, this is a board where you could try to empty the copper pile and get a whole lot of points from enlightened coppers that are not only not clogging your deck, they're actually making your city quarters better. I mean, no more so than all the other action cards that could be in your deck, but still. So that's interesting. The problem is that the gain situation is limited enough that might be too difficult. Like, Imperial Envoy is only plus buy is expensive for sure. There's not a lot of virtual money payload. Just Emporium. So Daimyo isn't giving you access to that much additional payload. Engineer can gain coppers. It is still pretty expensive to be rebuying engineers to gain 2 coppers at a time. I guess, you gain 1 copper at a time and not trash the engineer. I don't know. We'll see about that one, I guess. As far as how to open, Overlord looks generically good here because he gives you access to Litter and Imperial Envoy, although those are not necessarily the most important cards to be playing, like turn 3 and turn 4. Imperial Envoy could be good to play there, depending, but the other thing is that, like, maybe we don't need to actually take a sacrifice. Just use Overlord and then to sacrifice estates and then, move on, essentially. So I'm wondering about maybe Enchantress Overlord. I also wouldn't mind playing with an Engineer, but I don't think I want to skip the early estate trashing. And I don't think Engineer... Well, it could be like Engineer Overlord, I guess, if we really wanted to do that. Engineer being able to stuff, even putting the copper thing aside, Engineer being able to stuff like Patricians and Rustic Villages into the deck will help with City Quarter stuff, and it will also make it easier to find plus actions before playing Imperial Envoy. So that definitely does have something to recommend it. I guess there's an argument to be made that it's not ideal with Daimyo, because if you see the Daimyos and then you want to be able to Daimyo the high value targets, but I guess the other thing that with engineer taking those is that can be another source of tower points. Doesn't feel particularly critical to try to hit 5 early because of the presence of Overlord. So I think it's fine if we're, like engineer is obviously not helping with that, but I think that's fine. Well, the other thing, I guess, I was saying that like the engineer could be slow to gain stuff, but or like coppers in particular, but you could daimyo it a whole bunch. And then yeah, that's so you can get a like non-stop card, non-terminal way to gain all that stuff. Not that that's like the most pressing concern, but all right. I mean, I do think we're going to want to play with Enchantress. You can also gain Enchantress off of Engineer. Yeah. All right. I think I've talked myself into Engineer. Bot goes double Engineer. That suggests to me that what the bot wants to do is just get all the tower points. Okay. Well, unfortunately, we can't sacrifice and play Engineer here. We could... Let's see. So we have another estate and a copper down here. If we were to play Rustic Village, there's a possibility that we can skip both estates. There's also a possibility that we can't. If we play Litter, we definitely see them both, but we take a debt. How valuable is it for us to activate Enlightenment? Like with the bot spamming engineers, I'm not actually sure that that's to our benefit to activate Enlightenment. And the bot's already taken a Rustic Village, so it will already be, the clock will already be ticking on that. But the way the bot is playing, it's not going to be drawing through its deck. We have the potential to be doing that with Litter Imperial Envoy. So I think we don't play Rustic Village. And that makes me think we do play Litter. Okay. I'm thinking maybe we go Enchantress and another Overlord. Could be a Daimyo. We've got 3 action cards in our deck, other than the Daimyo. There's definitely a risk that the Daimyo just doesn't find anything. Or that we see like Engineer and Enchantress and the Daimyo doesn't help us play both of them. It might be better to take one more Overlord first. On the other hand, if the Daimyo does line up, that is generally going to be better. Yeah, I think I'll take one more Overlord first. God damn it. Alright, I guess we're playing the Enchantress. Okay, we've got another Overlord down there. Unfortunately, because we already saw the Engineer, if we go like Litter Imperial Envoy, we can gain something with Engineer, but we can't play it. Which, ideally, we would have gained and played an Enchantress. We could just play Litter, draw 2, trash an estate. Or we could leave the Overlord on top and trash the estate. The advantage of playing the Litter is that we draw through a copper. That's probably not worth it. I'll probably just trash the estate. All right, I do want to get another Enchantress going. And Patrician literally does nothing in our deck right now. I don't think we need that. I think Daimyo. I think I'm just going to go ahead and sacrifice. If we play Litter, there's a chance that we don't draw anything relevant anyway. And take another Daimyo. Damn it! Bottom deck the Overlord. You okay leaving the Daimyo in play to double play the Enchantress? I think so. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. Let's see. Do we want to gain... I do kind of wish that the the bot was doing a better job of doing the thing it's trying to do in a way, so that Enlightenment was coming online sooner and I could like start getting those coppers now. But it is not the situation. I wouldn't mind getting another Enchantress. The Engineer. And playing 2 of them this turn, like, without needing to use a Daimyo for it. Daimyo Overlord. 1 as Litter. Yeah, I think that is Litter, and then... Oh, right, that's how that works. Oops. I wanted to sacrifice... Alright, whatever. I do want to do this. Over with. Yeah, that was I was thinking I would get to replay the Overlord, not the litter, but of course that's not how that works. I should have played. Actually, I don't know what I should have done, to be honest. Okay. The Enlightenment thing is going to happen. That much seems clear. Right? The bot has added a bunch of rustic villages to its deck. I'm gonna buy another daimyo. But in terms of what to gain with the engineer, I wonder. The other thing I guess we could consider doing is trying to set ourselves up to get some Emporium points. We'll certainly have the actions for it. We, like, take a patrician now. The problem is we're not going to have the money unless we start sacrificing coppers, which we could do. Could also gain silver with the engineer. I think I'm not going to worry about the Emporium points thing just yet. I think I'm just going to take a silver, actually. Okay. We could try to daimyo the engineer and gain a bunch of patricians. I think we're going to have the problem of not being able to actually afford Emporium. Unless, like I said, we multiplay sacrifice. Because we have 9 coins in our deck right now. If we just clear our debt, we get. Or I mean, I guess if we engineer for more silver, that's another possibility. 1 silver would pay for like 2 litter plays or an Imperial Envoy play. But then we're not engineering for Patrician anyway, unless we can daimyo the engineer. But maybe we can. Alright, let's start with Overlord as litter. Yeah, the problem is going to be whatever we engineer for, we're not going to be able to draw it unless we daimyo the engineer now. But maybe we just do that. Engineer for another silver. Well, yeah, I think that's play. And then we could take Silver Patrician. So we're going to have... Oh, wait. Hold on. The problem is we're going to be out of actions. Okay, what if we... Nah. We do have another daimyo down there. It's the one, right? Yeah. So like if we were to play Overlord as Envoy right now, we double play that, that wouldn't be useful. And if we wait, if we play the Engineer first, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe I should have played Overlord as Envoy before playing the Daimyo. This is too complicated. Like we could double play Overlord as Litter. I guess if our only goal is to get through the deck, that's fine. And buy another daimyo. Like, basically spin for another turn. Yeah. Oh, we do have a third daimyo. How did that happen? Well... So we could double play the Engineer and then play the daimyo to draw one of the cards. And then play the, like, we'd get to double play the Enchantress. I'm confused about this, though. I played daimyo. I bought a daimyo. Where's my other daimyo from last turn? Did I bottom deck it? I must have. Well, fine. Yeah, we could. Double playing the Enchantress probably would be a good idea anyway. 2 coins right now. We could just gain, like, I mean, that Enlightenment is going to come online soon. So gain like 2 silvers. We'd only be able to draw one of them. Silver Patrician then? Also gain an Enchantress. Maybe that makes more sense. Patrician Enchantress. And there's some chance that we don't need to leave the daimyo in play. Yeah, we do. Okay, fine. We're gonna have a lot of draw though. All right, I don't care if the patrician's getting pigged. Okay. One overlord is litter, two overlords to play engineer, and then another overlord is litter or something like that. Seems good. How many times do we want to play this engineer? Gaining another enchantress makes sense. You could also Daimyo Enchantress again. We gained 4 cards. I mean, we could draw them all with Imperial Envoy, but if they were action cards, we wouldn't be able to play any of them, so that doesn't really work. We gain 3 cards. We can Daimyo Overlord. As like attrition and draw 2 of them, or we can do it as Overlord and draw all 3. Or we Daimyo the Enchantress, and then we play the Overlord as litter. Okay. So gain another Enchantress. We just gained 2 silvers. That's the question. I think so. Alright. Overlord as litter. Daimyo Enchantress. Play Enchantress. Now we can buy another Daimyo but not have debt, which will help with this business next turn. Alright. Enlightenment is about to be active. Wait, was it? There it is. Yeah, okay. I was kind of hoping the bot wouldn't be able to do that mid-turn. Okay. Let's see here. We don't have any debt to clear. The silver pile is lower than the copper pile. We could just try to empty silvers rather than coppers, and then we could start sacrificing copper for more money as well if we want that, which we probably do if we're going to play Imperial Envoy for buys. On the other hand, it is easier to buy copper. The bot will have an easy enough time emptying the rustic villages, but it won't necessarily have an easy time emptying another pile. We've got 5 daimyos now, but one of them is stuck in play. If we're gaining like 6 silvers, or 7 silvers and rebuying engineer. Well, lowering engineers is a little bit scary. Maybe not actually, because the bot has no access to plus buy. We can This is going to get complicated. I mean, probably what we should actually do is not trash the engineer but then buy another one. But maybe we should get an Imperial or play an Imperial Envoy so we have plus buy and try to buy like Engineer Daimyo. Okay. I don't think there's any way we want to Daimyo the Patrician. We want to Daimyo as many engineers as possible. Or the engineer as many times as possible. So let's just play the Patrician. We know it's not going to draw anything. That's fine. We know we're going to want to play Overlord as Litter, Overlord as Imperial Envoy, and then Daimyo the engineer a whole bunch. We just need enough money to pay off the debt. Which we have 3 silvers. I'm just trying to figure out if it's important to draw any of the stuff that we're going to gain. I mean, it's going to be hard to because it's all going to be on the far side of a shuffle. But I guess Imperial Envoy does draw pretty many cards. So, like, if we start... Okay, I think we start with Overlord as Litter. Or it could be Rustic Village. It kind of doesn't matter, I guess. The one debt... We pay a debt to get an extra card, which then, like, means there's a copper we don't have to play. It's like... You know, like, I think... But I think playing Litter is better. It gives us more flexibility. Okay. And now... We want to... Oh, the Enchantresses. I forgot about the Enchantresses. Oh, shoot. We need actions to play the Enchantresses. Okay, maybe we have to play one Daimyo. Or should have played one Daimyo and Overlord as Litter already. We do that once. We have plenty of actions. Yeah, alright. I should have done that already, but I didn't. Okay, so now... Oh, no, now I don't have the plus buy. Stupid. Well, yeah, I screwed this up. I screwed it up for sure. Okay, we can... I guess there's no real point in triggering the shuffle. We have plenty of money, but I guess we can also just do it anyway. Okay. All right. I think it's still better to get another Daimyo. We just really got to be cognizant of the need to get like plus actions and plus buy. I think Daimyo gives us the most flexibility. I wish I hadn't screwed that up. Wow, you picked a Daimyo? There's no way that could have been necessary. What the hell was that turn? Not that I'm complaining. All right. Pick a silver. Okay, so now we know we need to daimyo Overlord as litter. So let's not screw that up. Okay. We also probably now have enough money in our deck that we don't need to draw into, like, I think it's fine for us to just, like, what did we play last turn? Like, we had 17 coins, right? So I think we can just go ahead and Overlord as Imperial Envoy. And then we did, just want to double check my numbers here. 1, 2, 3, 4 daimyos. Oh, but there was one stuck in play. So that's 5 daimyos, and this is the 6 daimyo. Yeah, okay. So I haven't seen the patrician yet, which is a little annoying, but all right. I guess we're not going to. 1, 2, 5. Engineer. Okay. I guess it actually does make sense. We have enough copper here, we can trigger the shuffle. I'm actually wondering if we want to leave a silver on top as a big target. I mean, certainly we have enough money. Yeah, I think so. Okay. We could probably use another Overlord. Like, we could use an Imperial Envoy, but the Overlord's just strictly more flexible. Maybe we don't actually need the additional Engineer. Well, okay. I'm going to take the Overlord. Maybe we should just take 2 Overlords. I'm just thinking also about the pile situation. If the bot manages to, like, take 4 rustic villages at once or whatever and lower that pile as well, like, you know, that becomes more pressing. We take another Overlord. We can still use Imperial Envoy for buys, and we have enough money at this point that that's useful. Yeah, I think I like that. Yeah, so it's certainly doing that. It is, however, in 6 stat, and it doesn't have plus buy. So even with only the 2 daimyos left, I think we've got a pretty good amount of time left to try to empty the silvers. And we can also take some provinces, actually. All right, pick a copper. That's obvious. We shouldn't need... We now have 4 overlords. We still want to play our 2 enchantresses. So, how many buys do we want? Probably 3 buys. I would say... trying to figure out if we need to spend a daimyo on Overlord. With 4 Overlords, if we want to play 2... if we want to play 2 Imperial Envoys and 2 Enchantresses and Engineer, that's 5 terminal actions. 2 Overlords as litters only get us to 3. So I think we do 1 Daimyo on Overlord as litter, and then play 1 more Overlord as litter, and then play the other 2 as Imperial Envoy. Guess need to start doing this. All right. There is a slight chance that we fail to draw our engineer down there. It doesn't... all of our copper's in play, so it actually doesn't matter. Like... Well, I think what we do is we play 1 silver, and then doop, 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 doop. 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 And then board as Imperial Envoy. And again, we could leave a silver on top as... Oops. Target for that. And I guess the other possibility I wasn't considering is just like a mega turn on provinces. Like, we could just buy triple province here, honestly. We gained 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 silvers. So we're not quite on pace to finish the silver pile in 3 turns if we just buy triple province, but the bot has no ability to end the game next turn anyway. So I think we double province, and that gives us some points insurance. I mean, we'll see what the bot does, but... And then... What would... Well, we could buy a silver. Like, spending our 3rd buy on a silver does... Like, each turn does get us to 7 silvers, which then... Although we don't need to do it this turn, I guess, anyway. Maybe we just take another Overlord. Which can then... Well, actually, no. Daimyo playing litter gives us more actions than just an additional Overlord playing litter. So I don't know why I didn't think about taking a city quarter with... Like, if I just want the Overlord to be played as litter anyway, city quarter is clearly better than Overlord. Draws more cards. Not that that really is too much of a concern right now. If we take a city quarter, and we want to play, again, if we want to play 5 terminal actions, 2 of which are Imperial Envoy, leaving 2 Overlords. 2 Overlords as litter plus city quarter. Yeah, it doesn't quite work. So maybe... I mean, we do have a lot of money in the deck, so the other possibility is that we don't multiplay the engineer. Like, at some point, we just draw cards and then use all these silvers to buy even more provinces. Yeah, I'm actually thinking what we do instead. We get 1 province, maybe. Maybe we don't even get any provinces. Like I said, the bot has no ability to end the game this turn. It cannot. So out of curiosity, 2 engineers in the trash. Not that it really matters because The bot just doesn't have the right stuff. I mean, unless like the bot could gain enough silvers in one turn. Is that conceivable? Bot has 2 daimyos and 3 engineers. It is not conceivable. Okay. So we go 2 city quarters. And now city quarter, overlord is litter gives us 5 terminal actions to play the other 2 overlords as Imperial Envoy, and we can daimyo whatever we want. So if we did want to daimyo, well, I guess maybe even if we just want payload, we still daimyo the engineer anyway. And so now the question is, do we think we have to worry about the bot? Like we could, if we take 1 more city quarter, it just gives us a little bit more flexibility at the cost of maybe the bot can pay off its debt and buy another daimyo, and then we only have 1 turn left. And in that world, is there any chance that we'd actually be in trouble? I mean, honestly, I kind of don't think so. Like, we can daimyo Overlord as Envoy a couple more times to get more provinces if we need to. I guess the flip side is that taking the province now is about as good, and there's really no risk that we dud. So, yeah, I guess I'll take the province. Oh, I hadn't considered whether they could empty the estates. That's scary. Okay, yeah. Fortunately, their draw is not good. Although they could have, you know... They could have... Wait, did they just decline to pay off debt? They definitely could have, like, not played this Enchantress and played the Coppers for, like, the bot might have had a winning line there. I mean, the Engineers are stop cards. They'd have to get, you know, so it's not totally obvious. But definitely a possibility there. All right, so we were already planning on playing Overlord as litter at least once. I mean, the bot didn't lower piles, but now that I'm looking at the estate line, I'm like, oh yeah, that is actually relevant. Although maybe we could win on estates this turn anyway. Yeah, I mean, actually, Tower doesn't is non-victory card, so we get 6 estates. That's just a win anyway. I want to do the silver pile thing, but we can't do it this turn anyway. So I guess it doesn't matter though. If we're emptying the estates, we don't need Overlord as Imperial Envoy like, you know, a million times anyway. So we'll play this as a litter. We could play this one as an Imperial Envoy, though. Trying to find my city quarters. Not happening. There we go. 13 cards. Bang. Okay. Yeah, so I think it's just gotta be... We daimyo the engineer 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Near, boom. Go ahead and trash it now, it doesn't really matter. And then, actually, we might as well daimyo it all of the times and gain silvers with the additional gains. And draw everything. And I guess we can sacrifice some coppers for a little bit of extra money. Or estates for extra points. Ooh. We've only got 2 buys anyway. Maybe we should get another buy. 24, 28, 25. So we can currently afford triple province, except that to get the buy we need, yeah, so we actually have to go like this to get to 26, right? 24, 5, 26, and then those offset, and then we play envoy. Oh, sacrifice gave us actions. It's like, why? Why? Amazing. We can play our enchantresses. Okay. And now we can triple province. All right, well, that didn't really play out the way that I expected exactly. I definitely didn't think about the estate pileout, and I feel like there's a very real chance that the bot could have just gotten there. I mean, I guess it did have a lot of enchantresses in its deck to go through. It had 3 engineers and 2 daimyos. It couldn't have bought an estate. There was no chance of that. It would have had to... There were 8 estates left, so 3 engineers by themselves, even if you played all 3 of them in trash, would not be able to do it. But if you could daimyo both of the engineers, so it would have had to see all 3 engineers and both daimyos. The coppers weren't stop cards. The two of the estates weren't in the deck. So the stop cards in the deck were the 2 estates and the 6 enchantresses minus whatever it had in play. It did have Rustic Village for filtering. Patrician would never have found anything. I mean, the bot gave up in a weird spot here, right? Like, it could have just not played Enchantress and played the copper. Like, there was no reason to do this way, and it also didn't filter with the Rustic Village. What was its hand? Engineer, 2 Rustic Villages, 2 estates. So yeah, like, here, it could have discarded... Oh, it did discard estates here. Okay, never mind. I didn't see that. There was no reason to play this Enchantress, though. In fact, it should have discarded the estates on the first Rustic Village play and then potentially discarded Enchantress. I mean, granted, if it was discarding into a shuffle, that would have made it very unlikely that it would... I don't know when it shuffled, but... Or when it... Like, when's the last time that it shuffled? Right here. Yeah, so there's a possibility that I played this too incautiously and should have, like, triple provinced on that, my second to last turn. That would have definitely put me out of... like, it was like... The score was like 19-10. So triple province would have given me 28 to 19 as a lead, and then 8 points from estates wouldn't have been enough. Barely. And yeah, it would have been fine. But I mean, I think the conclusion here, like, I think there is, like, cool stuff you could do with Tower, but I think it doesn't by itself outstrip the ability to get a bunch of provinces if you're just taking piles like this. Like, if you got all the silvers or all the coppers, that's a lot of points. This is not a lot points. It also only really works if you're like rushing, but the once Enlightenment turns on, the deck that actually puts good cards into it can draw a lot and get a lot of payload. The buys are a limitation for sure, but still, yeah, I mean, so I think like in a more mirrored situation, I mean, I guess both players would be going for silvers because it's just like the most efficient way to add payload via engineer anyway. So you might end up with tower points for them, but it might not be so relevant because it would be like closer to even. Yeah, I would have needed at least, like if I had been playing for a longer game because the piles weren't as low, I would have needed at least a couple more turns to empty the silvers. So, well, I mean, assuming things didn't somehow go sideways, I would have needed exactly 2 more turns. But yeah, I mean, that's still kind of a long time. This was already 16 turns. So, I mean, I guess to be fair, I would have, if the bot wasn't already pushing piles, I would have invested more in the gainers, like gotten more engineers in particular, and would have been able to gain more silvers faster. But because the bot was pushing piles so much, you know, I didn't want to lower engineers. I mean, I probably could have lowered engineer like by 1 and been fine, but then that wouldn't make that much of a difference. What would make a difference is having like, you know, 3 or 4 or something like that, or like, or you know, buying or engineer for double silver and rebuying it and all that kind of thing. But whatever, I guess. Anyway, yeah, weird. Like the board isn't weird, but it was weird playing against the bot and doing what it was doing, I guess. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.